I'm going to reclaim. But
understand that you are protecting someone that is at the table now.
This subpoena is for personal emails, who their domestic help is, who's watching their. That's ridiculous. That is completely off the table. Mr. Chairman.
Would you please, just one last point, Ranking Member, please, just 30 seconds. It stopped becoming personal when they got access into the room. It stopped becoming personal when they got security clearances. It stopped becoming personal when they're in the room making decisions that impact the American people. And they also are sitting at the Trump Organization businesses table as well, making decisions. Remember that. Fear that. Because no matter if there's an R or D next to our name, fear the fact that we have corporations, people sitting at the table.
Mr. Chairman, I want to reclaim my time.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the channel. After watching that little snippet from the hearing, can you blame anyone for being fed up? My goodness. Thank God for Jim Jordan just being the only adult in the room. What is she talking about? This is what happens when Trump derangement syndrome goes completely off the rails. She is so obsessed with going after Trump and his family that she's literally arguing that they don't have any privacy anymore. Are you kidding me? And Jordan hits the nail on the head. Did you hear what he said? This subpoena isn't for some high-level government secrets. She wants to know who their domestic help is. She wants their personal emails. This isn't oversight. This is a political witch hunt, plain and simple. It is absolutely ridiculous, just like he said. All right, let's watch the whole crazy exchange.
I think it's really important for my colleagues to understand that we're talking about transparency and talking about oversight. These are messages that impact the American people. That right now, all I hear is this fear from the other side of information that might come about Ivanka, and we got to protect it. You know, that's all I hear is that you're choosing to protect family members of this current administration that have access to information. They are at the table making decisions on behalf of the American people.
Reclaiming.
They don't have any privacy anymore. They also have to be accountable to us in this chamber. And Mr. Chairman and Ranking Member, I understand that you want to talk about the specific processes and we want to go back and forth about Hillary Clinton and
I'm going to reclaim.
But understand that you are protecting someone that is at the table now.
This subpoena is for personal emails, who their domestic help is, who's watching their. That's ridiculous. That is completely off the table. Mr. Chairman.
Would you please, just one last point, Ranking Member, please, just 30 seconds. It stopped becoming personal when they got access into the room. It stopped becoming personal when they got security clearances. It stopped becoming personal when they're in the room making decisions that impact the American people. And they also are sitting at the Trump Organization businesses table as well, making decisions. Remember that. Fear that. Because no matter if there's an R or D next to our name, fear the fact that we have corporations, people sitting at the table.
Mr. Chairman, I want to reclaim my time.
Had secured commitments to provide more than 9 million apprenticeships and job opportunities for industries all over the country. We're helping people get jobs. We're helping Walmart and so many companies. They went all out. They went all out, and they're working with a person you may have heard of, perhaps not, Ivanka Trump. She loves it. She loves it. I'll tell you, she didn't need it. She loves it. More than anything, that's what she loves, because she says we're providing so many jobs, and they're training people. And, you know, the government can't really train them. When you go into these big companies, the Caterpillars and all of these, you got to sort of be trained by the people that do it. The complexity, the aerospace, Lockheed Martin has been great, Boeing has been great. There's so many. And they can train much better than the government. The government really wouldn't know where to begin, so they're training. We're going to have close to 10 million very shortly, and Ivanka really has done an incredible job on that. So I might as well give her credit, because the media will never give her credit. So she's my daughter, I'll give her credit, but it's true. And you know what? If she didn't do a good job, I don't know that I'd say that, but I wouldn't be talking about her. That I can tell you. I wouldn't. I'd probably just fluff over it. She's done an incredible job. There's truly never been a better time to be young and American. There's never been a...
But I want to start with holding our members accountable here on Capitol Hill. Now, this was posted on social media, It reads like false statements that we've seen from Hamas and other groups who want to foment hate and death in the region. It reads like this: Israel just bombed the Baptist hospital building, killing 500 Palestinians, doctors, children's patients, just like that. That was within an hour or two of the bombing, before we knew anything, before any of us could have possibly had a secured briefing, before we'd gotten an assessment from the President of the United States or any of our intelligence sources here. Before we could go down to the skiff and actually understand the details, that statement was made. Now, you'd think that'd come from a member of Hamas, but it came from a member of our Congress. If that member of Congress wants to take responsibility for the protests that we now see in Beirut, good on you. In Jordan, in Oman, and in Egypt, this sort of leadership or failure of leadership has no place on Capitol Hill. Now I want to talk about why I think Hamas is evil and why Iran's a part of this and why this is not surprising that the very details of this attack took place. Earlier this year in February, I was let me back up. A couple of years ago, I was in Israel and we went down to the Gaza Strip. We saw a tunnel head. We actually walked into a tunnel that was discovered by the Israelis. We went to a Patriot battery or an Iron Dome battery that every day is prepared to shoot down missiles, because it almost happens before this attack. It happens almost on a daily basis. I've literally been in Israel when I'm having lunch in northern Israel. This was near the Golan Heights, and I'm asking somebody to pass a plate of food. A bomb goes off. And the people living in this kibbutz did not even miss a beat. Every day they have to live with this stuff. So now down in Gaza, we see the tunnel system that's in Gaza. If you go north to the Lebanese border, you will see an entire network of tunnels that the Israelis identified just in time. It had been a project that was estimated to be 10 years in the making, funded by Iran. Hezbollah is in Lebanon. Hamas is down in Gaza Strip. They had developed these tunnel networks, and they were prepared to do the same thing in northern Israel that we saw in southern Israel over the past week and a half. And they even want to design this to strike fear and terror in the Israeli people. They want them to think, they want their children to think that they're going to pop out of the ground and kidnap them and kill their parents. This is a part of the terror that they want the Israeli people to live in every single day. And the Iranians were absolutely responsible for funding Hamas to build that tunnel network in northern Israel. And they do the same thing with Hamas in southern Israel. Ladies and gentlemen, first off, this has to end. Let's work with facts. And if Israel doesn't abide by the rules of war, then we should hold them accountable. But what we're finding out now from additional intelligence sources is that it does appear as though this was not an Israeli strike, that it was probably a failed missile launch from Hamas. We'll let the facts lead where they may, but here's what I do know. This congressional members and others, before they can actually stand up for the Palestinian people, who I believe the majority of whom are good people who want to live free and live in democracy, they have to recognize that Hamas is evil, every single one of them, from their leadership down to their rank and files, to the ones who flew the ultralights in, to the people who came out of the tunnels and murdered over 1,200 people. They have to be held accountable. Their funder has to be held accountable. Their strategists in Iran have to be held accountable. And we in the United States have to stand by Israel and by freedom-loving Palestinians and freedom-loving members of the Middle East. But we cannot let this go. We cannot let this evil go unchecked. And we have to stand by Israel, and we have to make sure that we do everything we can to educate the American people on the facts and disabuse them of any notion that this congressional member or anyone else has any place in communicating that misinformation to the American people and across the world. And the violence that can come from making people believe that, they have to own.
Unbelievable. Just unbelievable. I've watched it 3 times and it gets crazier every time. She really believes that just because she doesn't like someone, just because they have a security clearance, that Congress has the right to see who their maid is, who their nanny is. That's what Jordan was calling out. Let's break this down. Tlaib's whole argument is, Oh, this is about transparency. They have security clearances. They're in the room. So what? Having a security clearance doesn't mean you surrender your First and Fourth Amendment rights to Rashida Tlaib. It doesn't mean Congress gets to read your grocery list or your private texts to your husband. That is a scary line of thinking. You work for the government, so you have no privacy. Think about where that leads. And I love Jim Jordan's reaction. He's not even getting red in the face. He's got that look like he cannot believe this is a real conversation. He just calls it what it is. Ridiculous. Completely off the table. That is exactly how you have to handle these people. You don't get down in the mud with their crazy, unconstitutional arguments. You just call it crazy and shut it down. But folks, you have to understand this isn't a one-off. This isn't just Tlaib having a bad day. This is who she is. This is what she does. I was looking around and I found another clip. This one from the Senate floor. Senator Tom Tillis is up there, and he pulls out this giant poster of a tweet from, guess who? Rashida Tlaib. And what did it say? The second that hospital in Gaza was hit, before any facts, before any intelligence, before anyone knew anything, she immediately runs to Twitter and blames Israel for bombing it and killing 500 Palestinians. Senator Tillis gets up in front of the whole Senate and says her tweet sounds like it came from a member of Hamas. A sitting U.S. senator said that about a sitting congresswoman. And what did we all find out like a day later? All the intelligence, ours, the Israelis' video evidence, showed it wasn't Israel. It was a failed rocket from one of Hamas's terrorist allies that fell short. She spread literal terrorist propaganda to the entire world, and as Senator Tillis said, it caused protests and riots all over the Middle East. So you see the pattern here. On one hand, in this video we just watched, she's using her power in Congress to try and dig into the private lives of her political enemies. And on the other hand, she's using her public platform to spread dangerous, false information that helps terrorists. This is what the squad does. This is their playbook. They don't care about facts. They don't care about transparency. They only care about their radical agenda and tearing down anyone who gets in their way. Jim Jordan was 100% right to call her out, and frankly, ridiculous is the nicest word he could have used for it. What do you guys think? Am I wrong here? Is there any justification for this kind of behavior in Congress, whether it's harassing political families or spreading misinformation during a war? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I want to hear what you have to say. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.